which they had there, so that the city simply forms in that spiraling formation or something, or however you would describe the Fibonacci, which spirals in curvature and also in the male, more cube-like or angular structuring. Very beautiful the way it come at the phi ratio there, the golden mean, and I met this amazing wave of energy, reflective of an entire universe embodiment, as he was a ghost, he said. Spinning the opposite way to me, his breath spun the other direction, and we couldn't go into each other in some manner, but we could clap together as two giant waves. Bring great realization to each other, or one another, or even just simply myself, I have no idea. His words were backwards to mine, it was tough to hear. Tough to make sense. But gesturing, the language of no words, now that's much more easy, you see. You really can tell through the movement of the body what's occurring. Right now my body doesn't move very much, but we're here nice and centered with each other, it feels fine. I'm surprised that we go all these different places, but we are accelerating very greatly, me and Ray, at this time, and so maybe that's why I need to feel this nice big acceleration right now, so that I can start to talk about acceleration and remind myself and yourself, or remind myself of what to remind you, or to bring in about our journey that maybe you've been missing, because we haven't been talking very much. And we've been rapidly accelerating, her herself too. Very amazing. I'll try to get more secret catches of her on video. She doesn't mind. It's not wrong, but now she's getting much more confident. I think she'd be much more happy to even show us now. Maybe it would feel bad for her, but we've seen that it's a great should practice. I've been getting very upset with her, all mad at her, even telling her, "Don't you do these videos anymore? How dare you? Oh, we'll only do them deliberately. Only when we want to, precisely. That way they're exactly perfect like I want them to be." But that's the great beauty of her, because it is exactly perfect, even if it's not the way we want it to be. And it's funny to want to look like the great energy master and not like we're in the place where we are. Here we are, growing. Yes, I have the ability to step into limitlessness at any moment. Will I? I don't know. Here I am, limitless as all ever. What shows my limitlessness? Does doing a rapid expression do that? Or can anything, can the mundane, can the ordinary? Doesn't matter. We'll still be showing extraordinary things and be bringing out many teachings. We've had good viewers. Hello, good viewers. People that express that they're happy with the channels, and also gives a lot of good confidence and good feeling. Like, oh yeah, well then, if it's helping at least one person, awesome. Maybe we're doing the right thing. There's a lot of disconfidence, like, I haven't been doing this for many years. There's a lot of other things we could be doing, growing and learning on our own. And still, every time that the video comes out, when we're together and we're really doing it, it feels very good, very uplifting, very empowering, very, 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 very beautiful. And we've not been speaking as much, myself and her together. And that's interesting. But I do remember what it was like when we were videoing more, and also when we were ourselves, we were channeling more. But there's been a lot of awareness, a lot of thoughts, so a lot of disconfidence, a lot of fear, a lot of nervousness, a lot of making sure, is everything okay all the time? And I assure you, the angel numbers have been ridiculous present with us to help bring easement for myself. It is very beautiful to be able to settle and relax and center, because if I were to take even for myself the note of imperfection for a second, it would cause a huge rise in my energy, a giant rise. And I'm very good with finding what's happening with this energy and bringing it through the breath and focus and presence and awareness and settling and stillness, observation, contemplation, to find the settling, the easement of this energy. Like, I can see now, the great easement coming very easily through coming back into the channeling of this flow in a much more easy, direct, and relaxed fashion. There's a lot of judgments, a lot of feelings and nervousnesses, fears to move through, coming to the island, all the past programs of before, all the many years being here before, not seeing, not connected with, not feeling good in oneself, feeling rejected, and seeing how those things were all pinpointed on the need for abundance within consciousness. And now that the channel has come with such great authenticity and effortlessness and such a great realm of spontaneity and genuinity, it seems that it's not balanced upon the need of anything from anybody, and so it has this amazing, beautiful easy fulfillment of itself and relaxation possibility of itself. That it doesn't need to prove itself, and it doesn't need to not be itself. It doesn't need to exude itself and form this way or form that way. And it's so funny too, because I'm actually such a beautiful person all the way. You know, no matter which way I ever exude my frequencies, I'm always so great. But it's funny to, still have to want to try to find yourself. It's like, oh, the moment is so perfect. And I am it. You are it. We are it. So no reason to much worry. Even if I were to make a fool of myself, it would be perfect. No matter what happens, it would be perfect. So it's silly to guard in any manner. So as she's been bringing up the videos while I've been in my practice, it's been a great practice. Has been very difficult for me. I remember one of the last times it was so very difficult. Before I had the big change. But the difficulty in the expressing that difficulty allowed a great ease, because that was the thing. I didn't want to express. Eventually, there was a nervousness, and a nervousness that was born in the video. And instead of expressing that nervousness and allowing myself to relax, I kept tension and kept force, kept trying to show more and trying to show more and show that I'm confident and still and this and that and the other, and that is not what confident stillness looks like. Confident and still is a form, is a card shape. It's finite, it's flimsy. Where you are actually, that's confidence, that's stillness. It's confidence without the vesture of confidence. You don't have to wear it like a shirt. You are yourself, and you don't even need to say confidence. You simply are who you are, where you are, whatever you are, and you don't even need to identify it with any more than what it is when that particular moment. You see that as you accept yourself, you're constantly changing with every word you're saying. Okay, when I started saying this, I felt this way. As I'm saying this, I feel amusement. I feel this way now. I feel this way now. I feel this way now. I felt that way while I was saying it then. Like, what? 1 second ago. Here I am now, feeling this way, in this second, in this moment. Each word changing it. Changes the form of my entire body, my entire motion, my entire energy within me. And so this is what we find, as we come deeper into our present moment practice ourselves, we find that we are the shape of the breath, we are the shape of the moment, that we are the shape of the words that are forming. Our entire body forms this shape. Our whole body forms the shape. You're like, no. When we don't move ourselves in unison, we can't feel this degree of energy. But when we move ourselves in unison, we'll see like strings or something. It's like, what in the world? How are we balancing on these very strange, tiny chord structures and shapes within us? But we'll see that, is it our breath balancing it, or is it the shape making the space for the breath to come in at that fluidity? As none of it has to happen with our control, we can allow even the breath, all of it, to move more and relax, more relaxed, more relaxed, more relaxed. Subtler, subtler, subtler. Just find that easement, like, okay, that time I used a little more force than last time. Okay, this time I used a little less force than last time. This time I used so much less force I didn't even use enough. Oh, shoot, where am I going? Where is deliberateness? There's a way to be so deliberately precise, exactly accurate, intentional with your action, and without observation of it to where it occurs. This is faith. This is faith the size of a mustard seed. This is where you could say to the mountain to jump, and the mountain would jump. I'm scared of you saying this to a mountain. I hope you won't tell a mountain to jump. I don't know what it will do. If you could tell the mountain to jump in a way that doesn't cause great earthquakes and cataclysm, then I would think that was great. But perhaps if you tell the mountain to jump in other faith, it would of course jump in the way of harmony, so we don't have to worry about this. For me, these are the things that possibly are the blockages of me wanting to tell a mountain to jump. Of course, I don't know, why I would tell a mountain to jump, but, this could create great cataclysm. I mean, even lifting a rock, you could cause one of our very equal, seeming lesser friends, to some people's point of view, to be hurt, insects and other, so. Anyways. Don't worry about me and my judgment of movement. Everything is perfect. Eventually you come to easement to where you have no worry of this. But also, it will come, hopefully, through a great sensitivity and compassion that shows you. Because if you do retract yourself from lesser teaching upon realization of higher teaching, they say this to be a great falsity in practice, impeccability being a natural expression of the Buddha, or an awakened one, or of that one that has realized enlightenment. Enlightened action being that of impeccability, naturally. And you'll find that you are always this, and that everything is always moving quite impeccably. But in order to come into the embodiment and the awareness of that, it will be easy for you to then come into the alignment of the energy of your own tune and frequency, which is this, which is easy to do when you just find that actually this is how you are naturally, when you allow yourself to settle away from attack and defense, of the fight, of the force, of the control, of the manipulation, of the need to move things in a certain way, a necessity, because you believe that they have wrongness and previous, and so are in need of this. I have no idea if it's okay for me to be smoking marijuana on camera right now. It makes me feel nervous, but she turned on the camera at that time, which made me feel very upset with her. I was like, oh, how dare you turn on the camera while I'm smoking this weed and just trying to have my morning day. I just started to sing. I mean, come on. She's like, yeah, but the other times that you started in the morning, you told me that you wanted me to catch it. So what's going on with this? And so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we have this dual focus. Okay. So what's the problem here? Well, it's very difficult. You got other people watching, With her, it's much more easy, Maybe I'm fallible. It's no problem. She knows I'm amazing. And she can see all the amazing perfections that are unfolding through all of life to show her that she's amazing, that everything's amazing. And that's what I care about, is the fruition of the teachings of everybody being able to come into very effortless simplicity and realizing themselves in equanimity with all beings in a limitless way. Receding away from certain things, but not having to recede away as in like running away from, but actually just kind of relaxing, accepting everything, every part of the journey, which is beautiful that we came back to that learning, the accepting of all things. And I do accept that falsity and reality, that thing that I believed to be my greatest fear, that thing that I rejected most. And most people have to do that in this lifetime with death. That's why Tibetan Buddhism focuses on it so much. Because we are great at accepting life, but accepting death is very difficult. And in some way, accepting life over death, or not being able, or accepting death, is what is necessary to free us from it, as we're never free from death until we have the ability to accept it, the possibility of it, whatever it is. And it's a hard one to find, the acceptance of. I recently spoke to a friend about a friend of mine previous that had cancer and went into remission after being told that she could not and had 2 weeks left to live. And she was always the light of the room, so amazing. And she's alive to this day, so don't worry, I don't want to lead you thinking she's not. I thought about it though for a second. I was like, should I lead them further? This is starting to sound like maybe she's not here. No further. Completely transparent. No reason to be clever and mislead. Allow the moment to be authentically itself and see that it truly is a great teaching all on its own. You see, even in that, in the mundane nature of stating that observance and the possibility of being clever and coming to the true nature of authenticity is a beautiful teaching just in its own, just ordinary expression. And it was like my possibility of misleading myself. Just coming to confession of the possibility of that. Some people would wish to not do that. Well, maybe that's because they believe that it's possible that maybe in the future they wish to be able to do that without people being suspicious of them. I do not wish to be able to do this. I wish to be held in accountability if I do anything in incorrect action, anything misplacedly, wishing to lead something in a certain form. I did hear of Vajradhara misleading people in order to bring them to realization. Maybe I also wish not to stop myself in form from being able to do so. But you see, now I've come to such a place in honesty and authenticity, it wouldn't make sense for me to be doing these misleading frequencies. It wouldn't make sense for me to defend myself from them either. But in the way that I don't defend myself, I am now able to accurately express them in the moment. And so they become a great teaching. And so I didn't defend myself, and so it was able to come, the possibility. Here it is. I didn't block it away in my periphery. No, there's no possibility of this. There it was. And because I didn't defend it, there was the possibility. Because I also didn't defend against all the other balancing energies, instead of misleading, I simply discussed the possibility of it out loud, authentically, honestly. And this can show us how we can come to great centering and acceptance of all frequencies upon the journey and see that we're not actually able to go into an uncentering of our reality unless we're not expressing ourselves completely fully as we happen to be. And whatever we happen to be is not anything, actually. We're empty. And so all these expressions, all these frequencies that come through us actually come through us so that we may express it for what is us, emptiness as form. All of this. We think that we're just this, we're all of this, expressing through this, as this. So we are this, all of this, as this. But our responsibility as our body is for all of this ourself and our, but as this ourself. And we can find that how we can be responsible for this ourself is very simple. It's not a great task in slavery. We think, oh, we must go help everything out here then. No, actually, if you help here truly, then you help here truly. And so you have an incapability usually of looking here too long. But when you can look here long enough, you can see very clearly in your mirror, what's happening. For me, I hurt my foot this morning. I don't know, I was in a rush to go away, and here we are still here today. I thought we had to do something, but all of this, and then finally hurting my foot and having to come to articulation, expression about it with Miss Ray, we found that maybe I was trying to do things to appease her frequency, make her happy, but she's happy. And I really just want to grow and learn. I can be slow. I was a little irritated. Some boys been sleeping in our place that we like to sleep. But it's okay, that too. It was a beautiful wisdom teaching. We got to move out there. And now we're over here. All the things that happen are perfect always. So this is beautiful. If you get agitated, it's a wonderful thing. It helps you come to greater centering. In any way. But for me, the only way that I can do it is if I come through the authentic frequency first. The authentic place that was previous. The place where I was upset. I didn't like it. And I accepted that part. And when I accepted that part, it was like I wronged an innocent in some way with my judgment or my upsetness or whatever. And because now it was right here in the directness of my clear view, I was able to move through it in a really amazing way within the mirror consciousness, polish it. Like, oh, there's that smudge. I finally saw it. Before I was like, is it a smudge? But now I know for sure, yes, that is definitely a smudge. And I will go ahead and polish it off. I used a Windex or some organic stuff that was bred from judgment, but also of great benefit because it's truly actually helpful. So here we go. Or maybe it's not because the way it spreads judgment. Who knows? Oh, all the things equal. Okay, spread that one to it. You see? We said it out loud, so we saw it. There we go. Let's go ahead, wipe it clean. All that judgmental shit causing me to think everything's not perfect. Some good Windex. Anyway, chemical shit. I busy with it. So we come to good places, I knew that my foot being hurt would be a great thing. It was an accident too. It was a complete accident. It made no sense that it happened. It really didn't. I was like, I wasn't doing anything. I just moved my foot. I hurt my foot. I was like, oh, I didn't stretch, I guess, today. It's going too fast. And he would say, all right, you went too fast. You better go slow tomorrow. Well, then I would fixate into slow. Oh, no. Now I'd be all formed to slow. I'd be trying to go slow. I'd be all controlling. Oh, today is the day I'm going slow. Here we go. We're going slow today. Naturally is much easier than that, What do I feel like when I wake up? You say Ryan needs to be slow. I don't know. How does Ryan feel? Ryan felt like jumping up like a jolt of energy today. That was weird. Oh, he hurt his leg. What the fuck? But it led to this great perfection. Why does Ryan now have to control himself? I mean, here we are, sharing energy, sharing teaching, sharing space, coming to authenticity. And seeing how the very strange thing of coming to this authenticity is not leading to the great wonderful places that I may, I've been thinking about, okay, we'll go to this place of limitless flow because they'll like it better there and it'll be easy. We'll go to that place over there. We'll go to that place over there. And so you see, you've only been able to see me in my spontaneous practices where she catches me off guard. I'm like, oh, damn it. Stop it. Stop candid cameraing me. You're catching me off guard. I'm trying to only come to them in the way I wish to. 7:59 just passed us by. That's perfect alignment, that angel number by Joanne Sacred Scribes. I like to always say her name, because I don't trust the other ones, that's why. I lead people to what I believe in, not what I don't. And I mean, sure, everything's perfect, but some things are unclear. I like clear, conscious wisdom. I like things that relate to my heart more specifically. And for you, that may be something different than me, so you're perfect. Have fun with yourself. I love hearing things as well. It doesn't mean that I will ever look at what it is you suggested, but I still appreciate your suggestion. Thank you. But how wonderful. You know, you could see everything as a great blessing. Now I've hurt my wrist. Oh no, I smoked marijuana. Hurts my wrist sometimes. I pinch the channel like this. It feels like, I can't tell if it's my judgment, keep intention or not. We're trying to find out the way to allow ourselves to surrender deeper into formlessness. This is what we've been finding. That, as I try to move in force in any way, that even muscle exhaustion may be reflective of use of force. That it could be holding a position for too long, holding a motion for too long. Maybe I preferred a motion, so I started to loop it. Whatever it is, all kinds of, or maybe I started to use some form of force. Maybe I tried to hold my tone. Maybe I wanted it to go at this rhythm or at this speed or at this quickness, whatever it is. But as I relax myself from all those tension points of training, control, observation, I find myself moving much easier in greater fluidity. Now, I do have to find myself moving fully with it, though. So when I go into it, it is as I am doing it. And so it's not as if I'm dragging behind it, but it is also not like I am going before it. I am resting within the center of it as it. So I am the expression as it is occurring. We all actually have a very natural way that we have already experienced this, and it's just when we're simply talking to like a good friend. Now, maybe we don't have any friends that we feel vulnerable around, and so we don't have anybody we can talk to, but maybe there's a way that we can remember it sometime when we have spoken to someone that we felt not judged by, and so we felt free to express ourselves as ourselves, and we also felt not in fear of them, of course. And so we were able to just somehow be. Maybe we were drunk, maybe we were high, maybe we were just on the by and by, moving down the side of any kind of frequent highway or road, whatever way we might go, who knows. But either way, we continue to be. There's probably a way in which we found ourselves very naturally just expressing ourselves relaxedly, just like simply, just like kind of sillily. Like maybe you have even just said something accidentally, like, oh no, I made a funny, and I thought, oh, is everybody else going to accept that as funny? You look around at the room like, oh, is that okay? I said that thing without monitoring me? Oh no. You know, that's the type of thing though. If you've ever said something like Tourette style, like, oh no, whoops, like maybe you bumped your knee and said shit, you know, or something, and usually you wouldn't cuss or swear, so it's wrong for you to do this, you see. And so you did this thing that was wrong. That's when you had no control of yourself, so you see, you're able to just do your most natural expression. We don't know other languages, so we don't know, what they're saying. They sound all sacred, like, oh, they're speaking so sacred and elegant all the time. But we don't know, they're quite raunchy. I listen to Hispanic people talking, I'm pretty sure they were talking about penises and sucking cocks and sexual things for the most time. It was interesting. I guess, typically I would hear a Spanish language or something. I'm not saying they're always saying this. That's not what everybody talks in every language. But it's interesting what you don't know about other languages. If you didn't know those particular words, you would just think they were saying something very romantic, very beautiful. Like you do when you hear Sanskrit or Indian cultures, Hindi or whatever. You're like, oh, it's amazing, very sacred. Even the accent sounds even more sacred to you when you hear it in English. You're like, oh, it's much more sacred, this accent. Even like my accent now, maybe it sounds even better. For me, I like to ride the accent. The accent that I'm writing is always provided by the moment. And I'm writing the syllable structure. It makes it easy to follow the curvature, kind of like a song. Songs are kind of easy to flow. There's not space in between the words in the same manner. You don't have a certain thing. And actually, your words can appear as cursive in this way too. The English language channel can appear as cursive in that way too. And so that's also what I do. Just every one, all the different accents that I do. Da 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 da. It's pretty cool. All following the breath. Following the breath in the moment. I hope that this foot actually feels way better after I talked about it. After I expressed about how it was wise and perfect. I don't know. It reminds me of Frank Kai that we saw recently that was expressing great wisdom to us. Very beautiful. We have had a funny journey, me and Mr. Kai. We're different energies in some way. We express ourselves differently, but we've come across the same wisdom, it seems. So very beautiful. And I remember one time he said something about a pain that he had. And he's like, oh, am I going to feel this pain forever? And then he remembered truth. And he said it to another person next to me, so I was like an eavesdropper. I just got like a periphery teaching, like, kind of like an indirect thing. It seemed like this guy didn't really understand what the man was saying, so it kind of seemed like it was misplaced in some way. When I talk to people, I usually explain myself much more fully than this man did. But for me, I kind of got what he might have been meaning. That if he expressed himself in truth, or that he lived in truth, and he didn't make a lie out of it, and they understood that it would just maybe heal itself. That was like the farthest you could go. That it would like immediately healed, and upon the expression of it vocally. It makes perfect sense to me. I mean, it just seems like a far reach and a magic. Like, oh, well, I mean, obviously I've experienced it in these ways occurring in these microcosmic forms, but in this larger manner, I'm unsure. I mean, it seems a little too effortless. It seems a little too simple. But they do say the only difference between the Buddha and any ordinary man was that he was honest. But he did die from poison soup. No, he did die. He died from mushroom soup. This is just mushroom poison. Jeez. I mean, I take a lot of mushrooms. No, no, not this type though. This type surely would set me down. But yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, my foot does feel much better. I find that usually nowadays. Maybe it is that I create this reality for myself based on this little hinting. But the thing was, the hinting was already living before, so it was more like a watering of seed of a tree that was already growing within me. That of radical expression and how it's the great healer, how it's all that's needed. That everything here is here for us perfectly, and that we're not doing it. So you're not a wrongdoer. You don't need punishment. You don't deserve punishment. That's not why things are happening. We think that's why. It's a great teaching. It's a great blessing for us. If we lost our judgment and saw how strong we were, we would love the great warrior heroes that we are. We're like, yeah, I'd take that.